Urban legends are everywhere. They show up in late-night conversations, in childhood sleepovers, in whispered warnings and true stories, told by someone who swears they know the friend of a friend it really happened to. Most of the time, we treat them as spooky entertainment. But many of the world's most famous urban legends didn't appear out of thin air. They grew from real events, misunderstood science, shared fears, cultural memory, and stories that changed shape every time someone retold them. Today, we're exploring the urban legends that weren't fully made up. They were simply distorted by time, rumor, and the very human habit of filling in the blanks. Because sometimes the truth behind a legend isn't less unsettling. It's just different. The shadow in the corner, sleep paralysis, and shadow people. Across different cultures and generations, people have described the same terrifying experience. You wake up in the middle of the night. You can't move. You can't speak. And out of the corner of your vision, you think you see something in the room with you. A dark figure, a presence, a shape that feels aware of you. This experience appears in folklore all over the world. In Japan, it has been described as kanashibari. In Newfoundland, it's called the old hag. In parts of Europe, it was once believed to be a spirit pressing down on the chest. Modern paranormal stories call them shadow people. But this legend didn't come from campfire storytelling. It came from something many people have actually lived through: sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis happens when the brain partially wakes up during REM sleep while the body is still in its protective sleep lock. The mind becomes aware, but the body hasn't caught up yet. The result is vivid hallucinations, heightened fear responds to sensation of a presence, difficulty, breathing, inability to move or call out, and because the brain tries to explain what it est, sensing, it creates a figure, a watcher, a silhouette, a face in the doorway. For centuries, people believed they were having supernatural encounters. In reality, they were experiencing a rare but powerful neurological event. It feels real, it feels personal, and even when science explains it, the experience still lingers in memory like a story you can't quite wake up from. The Phantom Hitchhiker, a legend born from grief. One of the most retold urban legends in the world is the Phantom Hitchhiker. A driver picks up a quiet passenger on a long road at night. They talk for a while. Sometimes the passenger shares a story, or a warning, or an emotional confession. Then, without the driver noticing, the passenger vanishes from the back seat. When the driver asks locals about them, they are told the same chilling thing: that person died on this road years ago. Versions of this story are found across North America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. And while the supernatural elements grew over time, the emotional root came from something real: roadside memorial cultures and unresolved tragedy. In the early days of car travel, road accidents were sudden, shocking, and poorly documented. Communities carried grief through storytelling, and people shared cautionary tales as warnings. Over time, missing person stories, tragic accidents, and local folk tales blended together. The story wasn't really about ghosts. It was about loss that still felt unfinished, and the human need to keep a memory alive. The legend spread, because in many places, tragedy had, in fact, happened there. The ghost became symbolic. It wasn't a spirit asking for a ride. It was a story asking to be remembered. The haunted house. When science explained the scares, not every haunted house legend came from spirits. Some came from something invisible and very real. In several documented historical cases, families reported strange moods, headaches, hearing sounds, feeling, watched seeing shadows, or having vivid hallucinations. People believed the homes were cursed, or haunted, or sitting on something supernatural. But later investigations found the cause: carbon monoxide leaks or toxic mold exposure. Low-level carbon monoxide can cause dizziness, paranoia, visual distortions, fight or flight, panic feelings of dread, In older homes with poor ventilation or outdated heaters, some families experienced unexplained fear, only to discover environmental causes later. It didn't make the experience less frightening. It just meant it wasn't paranormal. It was chemistry. And sometimes, science can explain a haunting better than folklore ever could. The call coming from inside the house. Fear of isolation. You probably heard this one. A babysitter receives creepy phone calls late at night. The police trace the line and tell her the call is coming from inside the house. This story exploded across urban legends, horror movies, and late-night retellings. But its origin wasn't a single real incident. It came from true crime anxieties of the 20th century. True crime anxieties of the 20th century. A growing fear of invisible danger lurking right beneath the veneer of safety. Alligators in the sewer. The myth of the scrappy. Pet the Story is classic New York. Tourists buy tiny baby alligators in Florida, bring them home, and when the pets grow too large, they flush them down the toilet. Years later, these creatures are said to have grown massive, forming monstrous colonies in the subterranean darkness, occasionally attacking sewer workers. This legend is highly exaggerated. Alligators would quickly freeze or starve in New York's cold, harsh sewer environment. The reality, however, is that baby alligators were sold as novelties and were sometimes found in city waterways and sewers, discarded by owners. The myth is based not on a thriving civilization of gators, but on the true story of irresponsible pet ownership, and the fear of what we've discarded that comes back to haunt us. Crop circles, the art of the hoax for decades. Elaborate geometric patterns appearing overnight in farmers' fields fueled theories of alien visitors, secret military tests, or Earth-based energy anomalies. The sheer complexity was thought to preclude human involvement. But in 1991, two British artists, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, revealed they had created hundreds of circles using just planks of wood, rope, and wire, starting in the 1970s. While some intricate circles are now made by large groups of artists, the majority of the original phenomenon was an ingenious, decades-long hoax. It showed how easily we embrace the unexplained when the simple human explanation is too mundane. The Rat King, a rare natural horror. Perhaps the most unsettling legend on this list is the Rat King, a mass of rats, whose tails have become inextricably tangled and bound together by blood, dirt, or ice, forcing them to live as one grotesque, multi-limbed creature. This is often dismissed as a purely medieval invention, a symbol of plague or bad omen. However, genuine rat kings have been documented, though they are incredibly rare, with specimens preserved in museums. They are not mythical creatures, but a horrifying, albeit natural phenomenon resulting from close living conditions in unsanitary environments. The legend is true, but its rarity makes it all the more chilling. Conclusion: these stories prove that our deepest fears often come from within our world. Not from the supernatural, but from the scientific, the societal, and the simple strange realities of life.